Today, we'll be talking with the ambassador from Ukraine, from Vietnam, Ambassador Oleksandr Gaman. Chúng tôi có ông đại sứ Gaman, Oleksandr Gaman, đại sứ của Ukraine, có mặt hôm nay với chúng tôi, với đài truyền hình SBTN. We are pleased to have you here, Ambassador Gaman. And we have a few questions for you from SBTN now. SBTN is a channel represent, Vietnamese American in America. And thank you for your time being with us and staying here. So we got a few questions about condition in Ukraine and also your viewpoint in Vietnam. As of now, there are conservative American lawmaker. They don't want to support Ukraine. And not supporting Ukraine, how this would happen and affect Ukraine. And if you have time to talk to the lawmaker in America, in Congress, especially U.S. Congress, what will you say for them to keep on supporting Ukraine?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am grateful to SBTN channel for having me today and for giving this opportunity to speak with Vietnamese American community in the USA, to speak about Ukraine. And using this opportunity, I would like to extend my warmest wishes to all Vietnamese people on the occasion of the Lunar New Year of Dragon. I wish you all, your families, peace, prosperity, and good health. May the new year bring us hope and confidence for a bright and happy future for our children. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the United States for their support towards Ukraine in the face of Russian military aggression. The US has provided critical military assistance and financial aid, as well as humanitarian aid, and advocated for Ukraine globally since the beginning of the war. And the continuation of the US assistance is essential for us to our efforts to liberate Ukrainian territory from Russian occupation and just to save lives, thousands of lives of Ukrainians. And I do believe that despite some debates in Congress, the US will continue to provide us with the necessary aid. As you know, the Senate recently voted in favor of the decision, so the aid is on its way, and the decision-making process is progressing positively. Using this opportunity, I would like to express my gratitude to the group of the US ambassadors in the Pacific region for their support in providing assistance to Ukraine. Recently, several US ambassadors have written to the US Congress in support of Ukraine. I am particularly pleased to note that my good friend, the US Ambassador to Vietnam, Mark Knapper, is among the signatories. However, time is very crucial for us. Any delays in providing aid are very costly, as every day without assistance puts Ukrainians' lives in danger, both military and civilian. We understand that there may be some political issues at play, but we do not interfere in the internal politics of any nations. So if I had the opportunity to talk to the American congressmen, I would like to tell them just a few things. First, supporting Ukraine now and enabling the Ukrainian victory over Russian aggression is the best way to prevent a larger war in Europe and a chain reaction of interstate wars around the globe. By providing financial and military assistance to Ukraine today, the US avoids sacrificing the lives of its military in the future. The whole world is looking for American leadership in defending democratic values and peace in the globe. And in conclusion, Ukraine looks to the US leadership to remain steadfast, help protect lives, and preserve freedom during this time of Russian full-scale aggression. And any successes of Russia in this war will encourage and contribute for the strengthening of other authoritarian regimes in the world in their aggressive actions towards other states in violation of international law.
Thank you, Ambassador. We hope that the American, will carry out carry out their assistance. As always, America has been helping other countries, and especially fighting against dictatorship. I hope that we don't lose that value, that principle, helping out another country, such as Ukraine, who deserve our help. And I ask you to be patient. With the American, sometimes it takes a little while, but I hope, we'll come to the right conclusion, right supporting your people to fight for freedom. Can you let us know, in Ukraine, beginning of the year 2024, how is the condition of your country?
Now we are approaching the 10th anniversary of Russian aggression and the 2nd anniversary of the full-scale war against Ukraine. And we already have demonstrated to the whole world that Ukrainians are brave enough and freedom-loving people who are fighting for their right to live in a free state, in a sovereign country. And it is important to remember that Putin's February 2022 attack was intended as a blitzkrieg with the goal of destroying the Ukrainian state within weeks or even days. And now, 2 years later, Ukraine is still standing and fighting back, having liberated more than half of the newly occupied territories, lifting Russia's naval blockade by sinking nearly a third of Russia's Black Sea fleet. And we also formed a global coalition to support Ukraine. Yes, we pay a very heavy price. We are losing our best people on the battlefield. We are losing civilians, including children, women, and the elderly. But now we are more united than ever before in our determination to preserve Ukraine for future generations. We also recognize that we have no other options. If we stop fight, Ukraine ends. And that is what exactly Putin wants, and he needs it. Russia currently has no intention of ceasing aggression, or withdrawing its occupation troops from Ukraine, or pursuing diplomatic solutions. Putin continues to send thousands of men into battle. So the situation in Ukraine, particularly at the front, is currently very difficult. During winter times, Russia has intensified its attacks with missiles and bombs, causing the death of civilians and the destruction of hospitals, schools, kindergartens, private houses, and tens of commercial buildings. I will give only a few examples of terrorist attacks committed by Russia in recent months. Just one of them, on the night of December 2023, Russia launched one of the most massive attacks on Ukrainian territory, firing 155 drones and missiles. The attack resulted in the death of over 40 civilians. Over 100 private houses, churches, hospitals were destroyed. Next one, on the morning of February 7th, Russia carried out a series of strikes on 6 regions of Ukraine, using a total of 64 air attack weapons, including attack drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles. And as a result, 5 people were killed and more than 50 injured. And just yesterday, on the 15th February, Russia once again attacked the entire territory of Ukraine with a variety of weapons. So the situation in Ukraine remains highly challenging, and we must come together as a global community to safeguard our country for our children, to make the world safer. We are not asking other nations to fight on our behalf. We can defend ourselves, and we've been doing so. However, we require assistance to do so efficiently and effectively.
You are the ambassador of Ukraine in Vietnam, and the Vietnamese government, 3 times they have abstained in United Nations, and they do not, they abstain from voting, helping Ukraine, and they don't say, vote for Putin. And when Putin, annexed 3 regions, Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia into their country. Do you have a plan, and how to galvanize the Vietnamese in Vietnam to change the viewpoint and help Ukraine in the next voting round in United Nations, to help Ukraine? Do you have a plan to convey to the Vietnamese government?
Yes, we have been working with Vietnamese government very closely, and we are not alone in urging Vietnam to be more outspoken in condemning Russia's violation of international law and order. My colleagues, foreign ambassadors in Hanoi, also raised awareness of the consequences of tolerating such a brutal act of aggression. Ukraine absolutely respects and praises Vietnam's approaches to foreign policy, and we are grateful for Vietnam representatives' clear statements made during debates at the United Nations. At the same time, in my viewpoint, neutrality is not the answer to Russia's state terror, which we are all witnessing. Appeals to parties for restraint are just useless when Russia intends to destroy the Ukrainian nation and statehood. I believe we all require the determination of every country in the world to safeguard the international rules-based order by certain deeds, not just words. It's about peace not only in Ukraine or even Europe, but also on other continents of the globe. So Ukraine seeks the soonest possible restoration of peace and to stop Russia's unprovoked aggression. At the same time, the peace must be just and comprehensive. This can only be possible when the territorial integrity of Ukraine is fully restored. If not, it will be nothing more than an illusion. Moreover, it will embolden those with the revisionist aspirations to take action. It should be clearly understood that only peace based on the principle of respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine can ensure the restoration of world order and bring stability back. It is this to end that the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, presented the 10-point formula to the G20 leaders in November 2022. And in February 2023, the United Nations General Assembly supported the Ukrainian peace formula. We are applying active diplomatic efforts to involve the widest possible range of participants in the implementation of the formula, because it is unification of common efforts that should become a safeguard against the repetition of aggression in international relations. The peace formula is currently the only realistic and comprehensive plan for restoring the territorial integrity of Ukraine and guaranteeing security and justice for the entire international community. So we do hope that Vietnam joins the implementation of the points of the peace formula and strengthens the ability of the world community to defend the principle of the United Nations. And as you maybe know, our leaders, President Zelensky and Prime Minister Phỏng met just a few weeks ago in Davos, and they had very good meeting and very fruitful discussion about our perspective.
We wish you the best in doing it. In the beginning, when Russia invaded Ukraine, the Ukraine embassy in Hanoi has met a lot of difficulties from the Vietnamese government in your speech or galvanizing people, helping people. The Vietnamese government even cut off the electricity during one of the event. These things, does it still happening in Vietnam? Do they still trying to recruit you from having these events, and do you do anything to convince the Vietnamese government to change their viewpoint?
You know, our embassy, like any other embassy in Hanoi, is task is to develop bilateral relations for the benefit of our nations. So we do not stop doing this. Organizing different events, even during the time when the war is going on in Ukraine. And maybe we need to exercise even more effort in bringing the people of the two countries closer together during difficult times. The Vietnamese authorities in general support our ideas, yet the administrative permits procedures are sometimes a bit complicated, which leads to confusion, let's say. I must admit that it is much more easier for my Vietnamese colleague in Kiev to organize events despite the wartime restrictions. So I feel that Ukraine and Vietnam miss opportunities to enhance bilateral relations by promoting trade, cultural exchanges, let's say, certain technical obstacles. Bearing this in mind, I hope that no technical issues will further occur and our cultural and other projects planned for this year in Vietnam will be implemented smoothly. We are working on it.
The Vietnamese American, especially the Vietnamese overseas, we always supporting your cause against Putin, against the invasion of Russia. Our channel SBTN has, in the past, in the beginning, we raised up to $300,000 from our viewers in 2022, and we sent to Ukraine. And it's been 2 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. Do you have a message to our Vietnamese American viewers here in the U.S.? And you want to say something? Any message you want us to do for you?
Thank you. I want to express my gratitude to the Vietnamese people, both in Vietnam and abroad, who have supported Ukraine during these difficult times. We appreciate your support and will keep it in our hearts forever. Since the Russian aggression began, Vietnamese people have helped Ukraine in many ways, including providing financial and humanitarian aid from countries like the United States, Poland, and Germany. Beyond this, the Vietnamese community has helped raise awareness about the situation in Ukraine through social media and personal connections, which has been invaluable in the face of Russian propaganda. As Ukraine's ambassador to Vietnam, I am very pleased to say that many Vietnamese people have been contacting our embassy to assist children in Ukraine, to help hospitals, schools, kindergartens. So even those who have never visited Ukraine before have shown a willingness to help in any way they can. This kind of support, no matter how small or big, is truly priceless. So once again, I want to express my gratitude to the Vietnamese people for standing in solidarity with Ukraine and their unwavering commitment to helping our country during this unjust war.
Now, if Ukraine need more help, do you have any particular message for us that we're willing to lend you a hand? Do you have any message for us, asking us to do anything to help you?
Yeah, thank you. As I already mentioned, Vietnamese living abroad have been providing significant assistance to Ukrainians. I'm not sure if there is any more that can be asked of them. However, if you're still interested in helping, there are several ways you can contribute. One way is by spreading truthful information about the Russian aggression against Ukraine. Another way is, as you already been doing that, just raising funds to help the civilian population that is suffering from daily bombings throughout the country. You can also participate in public events and information campaigns that support Ukraine. California has a large and strong Vietnamese community that can help influence important decision-making by U.S. lawmakers. I am confident that the voice of the Vietnamese community in the United States will be instrumental in supporting Ukraine. And Ukrainian community in California is also huge and active. And in my opinion, working together with the Vietnamese community in the United States can have great prospects. Despite the significant distance between Vietnam and Ukraine, our people have many similarities. Ukrainians are currently experiencing the horrors of military aggression, which the Vietnamese people went through half a century ago. So the Vietnamese are very well aware of the devastating effects of the war. Furthermore, there are parallels in the history of the Ukrainian and Vietnamese nations, as both have been fighting for hundreds of years for the formation of their nations and the right to live in their own free and sovereign countries.
Well, we thank you very much for your time spending with us, Mr. Ambassador, and we hope to have good news for you from the U.S. Regarding your, assisting your fight against dictatorship, Putin. And thank you very much, and we hope to talk to you soon again in the future, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for having me today, for this great opportunity to speak with you, Vietnamese American.
Thank you.
Thank you.